Marianne Brigham. I'm Nina Hanchett, and I'll be doing this 15-minute interview this afternoon. And the questions are questions that don't require a lot of research and that kind of thing, but it's an opportunity for people in Cloverdale who don't know you and who don't have an opportunity to see you at one of the two forums tonight or the one 2 weeks ago, to give them a chance to get to know you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And the first question is, Marianne, what's your background? I've known you for years, but...
Background, you mean like way back?
Well, we don't have to go to like pioneer days, but yeah, but yes, your formative years.
Okay, born and raised on a dairy farm in northern Wisconsin. My father was a teacher and principal of a school. My mother was a merchant. Went to public school, went to private college, graduate work in Central America for the Latin American Anthropological Foundation. Came to Cloverdale in 1978.
That's a long time. That's almost 40 years. Right? Did I do that right in my head?
36, 37? Yeah, I guess so. Long time.
Long time. Cloverdale's changed a lot since then.
I've watched it. When I landed here, it was bustling. I mean, it was just stores everywhere. You could buy jeans, you could have your shoes fixed. It was definitely a blue-collar town, and proud of it and doing fabulously well.
And self-sustaining.
Oh, very
too.
much so, yeah.
People didn't have to leave town to get the
No.
necessities. Yeah, I've heard that and would love to see aspects of that come around again. So you've already said you've lived here almost 40 years. You sit on the city council now, and why are you seeking another term?
I've got a few things I'd like to accomplish. I've been on and off city council since the late 1990s, and I'm sort of project oriented, and the project that I was really interested in when I first started was the river park.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 5 of us that started that and spearheaded that whole campaign and got the river park going. And so now I see it as there's like 2 or 3 projects that I haven't finished up in the last few years that I would like to. You want me to go into those? Or?
A couple, yeah, please, because that also leads into another question a little bit further down where I ask you, what 2 things do you think you will have the most impact, or sort of your passion to impact?
All right, well, one of the things that I'm working on now that I really want to see to completion is bringing Health and Human Services to Cloverdale. Mm-hmm. And they're negotiating lease terms now, hopefully, with a local landlord. And it started out as just bringing 2 or 3 people up, mm-hmm. Part-time, but now it's grown so that Health and Human Services, Catholic Charities, there's a bunch of groups now that are going to share space, and it looks like there'll be up to 14 employees in the office, and it'll be a full-time office, including a conference area for James Gore to use, and it'll just anchor a lot of the services that we really desperately need in this town. And this is something I've been after for about 6 or 7 years, and it's a big one for me.
Right, and it's difficult for people that don't have private transportation to deal with that on a regular basis. Well, it could take half a day.
It's unrealistic to think that working class people are going to come home from work, get home at 6 o'clock, pick the kids up, get them home, have dinner.
Take them to practice.
And then, take them to practice, have a family life. And when are they supposed to drive to Santa Rosa and go to these appointments? The elderly, too. Mm-hmm. We have a fairly big elderly population, mm-hmm. and so they take the bus down. The bus service isn't that great from Cloverdale. So they're faced with the same thing. So mm-hmm. young, old, it's necessary, and it's about time.
And it will be nice to have the county have a physical presence in Cloverdale, because I think for a long time, I think many people down there thought we were Mendocino County. And that's
That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, I know.
But that's, and Catholic Charities also has agreed to come up 2 days a week for immigration counseling.
Well, that's great.
2 full days a week. So it's in the works. I'm not going to get my hopes too up because
Right.
they've been dashed on the rocks a number of times.
Until it happens.
But that's a big one for me. There's 3 or 4 other ones, but
How about one more? That's a huge one, the services and another
that's a big
area?
one. It's a small one that I've been working on. I went back in my file and realized that the first letter that I ever wrote about how dangerous the First Street Bridge is without a walkway was to Paul Kelly, when Paul Kelly was supervisor. I don't even know, I should have looked how many years ago that was, but we've gone through 3 or 4 supervisors, and it's a really dangerous crossing. We got, the piers are in, the width is right. All we need is for the Safe Routes to School county money, because it's a county bridge, you know, it's true. But we need that walkway, and I mean, I'm about to the point where I would like to just one weekend just build a walkway on the side of it. I won't though.
No.
I shouldn't threaten that
No.
to James Gore because
No.
he's been very supportive in this.
Yes, yeah, that's great. Okay, well, it would be wonderful if something positively could come of that.
Well, there's a grant in the works right now, and if you want to put pressure on anyone, write to Mike McGuire, write to Jake McKenzie from MTC. So
Okay.
just keep pressure on, and maybe this time that grant will come through.
Okay. Is that an MTC grant, or what kind of?
It's a combined grant,
Okay.
but MTC, Jake could put some pressure on.
Okay, that's wonderful. So people use the term economic development, Marianne, and they use it to mean a lot of different things. Manna from heaven, manna from the federal government, redevelopment, whatever. What does economic development mean to you in specific relationship to Cloverdale's economy?
Cloverdale's difficult to have a business in, because I know I've had a few, and I've started them all from scratch. So you look at it, and from a city standpoint, not as a citizen, but as a council member, it's my responsibility and the city's responsibility to make the infrastructure work for business people. We can't change the demographics, no matter how much we try. We are who we are and what we are, but we can make sure that, like the Downtown Boulevard project, digging that all up, we needed new infrastructure downtown. Things were leaking like mad. So you put a new infrastructure in place so that the businesses can thrive. And instead of those 2 weather report? That's all
I
right.
was wondering.
Amber Alert.
Oh, it's an Amber Alert.
Ooh.
That threw me a little bit.
Okay, we're talking about the infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Well, the infrastructure is important, and so we did that. And it hurt some of the businesses. I had one right on the boulevard. I was dug up like everybody else. But, excuse me, you just have to supply what they need.
Right.
And that was one thing, putting the new water systems in so that we now have reliable water. We don't have to hold our breath through the dry months and worry about not having what we need. Streets, sidewalks, the downtown looks so much better than it did when I first arrived, but there was a freeway going down the middle of our town.
Right.
So what does it mean? I wish I could say that there was a magic pill to take for economic development, but right now we have some new business and some new energy in town that I have to say is it's exciting
Yeah.
to see, and
It
it
is.
really pleases me.
It is.
And anything that we can do to ease up a little bit on requirements, not that anybody gets special treatment, but just to be more realistic with prospective business people and give them what they need, help them.
Right, and there's some creative ways to do that.
There
if
are.
you're willing to,
I've read the whole Main Street book. And
Lots of different
there's
things.
lots of different things you can
Yeah,
do. And I'm
absolutely.
hoping that we try and do them all.
yeah. That's great. There's a change afoot.
Yep.
I'm loving that. How do you currently keep your constituents informed, and is that going to change after the election?
I don't know, I think most of the town has my cell phone number.
I know I do.
I know you do, so it's like, I've never tried to hide where I am or what I'm doing. I've always been fairly, I don't currently have a business that's got the doors open 7 days a week, but for years and years and years, everybody knew where to track me down. So, or have my email address,
Right.
mariannebrigham@comcast.net. Everybody uses it, and I'm happy to answer questions or dig into a problem if you have it.
Great,
It's my job.
great, great. You've been in and out of city politics and city leadership for years and years. What topics would you like to cover that maybe people, they may not know about you?
You mean what I've done?
Yeah, what's your interests, what you've done, what you want to do?
Well, my heart has always been in the arts, but I'm also a realist about demographics and businesses staying alive. The Performing Arts Center was a big one for me. That was almost a dead project because we kept having, as a city, had to take money out of the Four Corners projects when we were working on those. And it got to the point where what was going to be a $2.5 million project only had about $1.8 million left in it. And it was going to be, I think, diminished to the point of non-existence. So I offered to take it on as a single project and form a nonprofit, which I did. I formed a group of people. We hashed it out for 2 or 3 years, and we now have the Cloverdale Performing Arts Center, and next year is, if you can believe it, our 10th anniversary.
I have a hard time believing that. I remember when the shovels were
I know.
just put in the ground, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember when an associate of yours and friend of both of ours raised money for the Cloverdale Performing Arts Center, the name on the front of the building.
Yeah.
It was...
There was clever little ways of doing it, but as a community effort, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, there were, people came and carpet layers were laying carpet as a gift.
I remember.
Painters were coming in and painting. Demolition, I mean, Bob Cox was there. Half the city council was in there helping me demolish walls. But we didn't get a kind of a lot of people when they walk in there think it's going to be, you know, a gymnasium with a couple egg crates for
Yeah,
a
for
stage.
sound or whatever.
But it's not. It's a state-of-the-art.
Oh, it is.
And I've got a million stories about that project, but it not only got finished, but it came in $750,000 under budget. And that's something. And it's still going strong. I just stepped down 2 weeks ago as president. I've been president of that board for 10 years. And one of the board members finally stepped up and said, it's time. And I was thrilled.
That's great.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm still on the board, though.
That's congratulations.
Thank you.
That's something. That's quite a legacy. If there was nothing else,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, the River Park. that
River
was
Park, right? I know there are
That's-
lots of them.
dear to my heart. Clark Street Park.
Yeah. And the list
The list
goes on.
Yeah. But I'm project oriented. That's what I do. It's like I'll pick a project and then I'm just a bulldog
Tenacious.
about it. I just will keep at it and at it. And that is what it takes.
Yeah, I know. Determination. Marianne, thank you. It's been 15 minutes and
Oh, is it?
yeah,
No.
yeah. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you for a
Appreciate
lovely
it.
interview.
Thank you.